Hello, it's Colette from the Sacred Rose Temple. And wow, what a crazy last few days of deep pulling energy. And I know that in my newsletter I've shared today with this energy is coming from some really high level solar flares that we're having in space at the moment. It's crazy that the sun keeps coming up as a symbol of power. It can be of God. Some people refer to it as Satan. Some people see it as the power. And currently, just like in a huge energy crisis on the planet, where they're talking about bills rising and the ongoing costs of having a property and its detrimental effect upon society, and yet we've got this huge big resource in the sky that could actually power the whole planet. And one of my friends shared something similar today, and I know that friend lives completely off grid with solar power. And it just made me think about the bizarre energy of us as human beings and how we play with energy and how we kind of like use resources really mindlessly. And that's an example of it. Solar power could run the planet, yet we're not doing that. Bizarre. Anyway, the current energetic landscape is quite tough. I am currently feeling this completely through my body. I am tired. I feel like I've had energy sucked out of me. I've got sweats in the night. My dreams are full on crazy. I am feeling emotional. There's lots of stuff coming up from me, shadow behaviors, repeated cycles, childhood patterns. And, if I could have 20-hour sessions with my Jungian analysis, I definitely would be at the moment. So I know it's particularly intense for those who are tuned into the work, and those of us that might not be tuned in, we might be feeling this in some way. We might have anxiety going up through our body. It may be that relationships are difficult or trying, or there's just something that keeps getting in your way. And usually it's yourself. We're all in patterns of low level human behavior and shadow behavior, and also just lots of powerlessness and unworthiness is coming up during these solar flares. I know that Chiron's entered into Aries, and Chiron is the star of the wounded healer. And the wounded healer is someone who's trying to fix everyone else. And that is a huge piece for me. I constantly take on the responsibility of others and try to help everybody and get too involved. And, for me, it's drawing back my energy and sorting myself out and allowing others to help others. And I realize this a lot as the role of a healer, one that works to help people heal, that the healer in us is wounded when it thinks it can heal others. It can sort others out. It can change others. The true healer is someone who gives somebody the power back to heal themselves. And this come up in one of my groups that someone was, discussing doing healing on someone. And I really find that disempowering. I was one of those that used to, think I could heal people. But as the more work I did on myself and the more healing I did on myself, I realized that healing was actually a big inside job. And that the greatest gift that we can do as a healer is teach people to heal themselves. So you'll see in my promotions at the minute that I'm advertising a course for the healer, and because I think it's so necessary for me to put out my knowledge and wisdom and say this is how we do it to ourselves, and we then have the skills and the embodiment to actually take other people into that knowledge and so that they can heal themselves. I remember years ago reading a book called Why People Don't Heal, and by Carolyn Mace. And I often bought that book for people who got diseases and ill, because it really rooted back down to the fact that when we become ill, when we need healing, there's something that's a catalyst of that. Something's caused it, and we have to root that out in our life. We have to see what that is. Many people do not heal from diseases because they're not prepared to change the circumstances that got them ill, nor are they willing to look at the situations in their lives, behaviours that got them there too. And so the illness continues to thrive in the energy that it grew in. So that's key for anyone, who's feeling maybe ill in this climate or is having repeated things come up that need addressing and healing. The other thing that I wanted to speak about with that is that we're all just dismissing this power within us, aren't we? That we have this deep innate ability to heal, that we have a human body that is able to fight virus, disease, cuts. Look how magic it is when you get a cut. And I remember being in awe as a child watching Superman when he would get cut and his wound would just heal up. But that's actually true, isn't it? Our body actually does that. And I think as we've got more into a modern world, we have sank into a place where we're not in relationship with our body anymore. We've forgotten how powerful it is. We've forgotten its ability to heal, to bring in immunity, to look after itself. We often disconnect the psychological, the emotional, the spiritual from that, and it just becomes a physical experience. So I know, like ancient cultures, to heal someone was a whole physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, like medicine kit, if you like. So I recognize that in myself and try to, at all points, use herbal medicine, support my immunity with food and sunshine and goodness, and avoid situations that will make me ill. And that does not make me not vulnerable to virus. Recently had COVID, and how I treat myself with the knowledge and the research and the herbs and all the things that can support me to heal. And I just want to remind people of that the healer archetype is so prevalent in our society. Doctors, nurses, therapists, body workers, healers are all around us, teachers. The healer comes in many guises, and many of us I think all of us hold a healer archetype. All of us might, cuddle somebody if they're feeling poorly, take them a broth, or there's some kind of energetic exchange with being a healer in that we want to help another. And I think it's important at this time to do that without disempowering another, and rather trying to ask that person, show that person that they have the healer within them and what it is in them that needs to be activated to be able to become the power source that heals themselves by taking actions and, all the other things as well. So just thinking about your own self and where you may give your power away to external forces, there is always comes a time when we need to hand it over. For example, I'm not against the medical system at all. I think it's super important and it's life-saving for many, many people. But often people have just they go to the doctors with a cold or a sore throat and they don't believe that the body could heal itself and they can support that in the healing. So I want to get the levels of what we're talking about sorted here, rather than believing that I would be ruling out medicine in any way, because that's simply not true. But feeling how we as people are taking on the healer within ourselves, taking responsibility, knowing that we have the power to make change, to support ourselves, and also just the shadow of the wounded healer, realizing where you may be taking power away from other people by offering them healing, for example. I used to do something called a divine love healing, where I would send healing out to people in support of their own healing methods. And the way I do that in this day and age is I send prayers. I ask the biggest, most powerful source I know, God, creator, to support that person, please, God. And there's a million stories that I've shared about the power of prayer. And I still really deeply root and believe in the power of prayer and offer that whenever I can. I do see too many teachers or healers offering, like, I will heal you, I will send this healing over. And that's really doesn't help that person who's suffering. That person who's suffering needs to, in that process, in that initiation of illness and struggle and turmoil, whatever it is, find that inner healer within themselves, because that would for sure change things within the psyche, within the biology, within the cellular data, that would give them something to hold on to and change whatever was going on inside of them. And we must remember, like, the karmic things we get involved in when we try to take power away from people, even if it might be unconsciously. So it is time that the healer in all of us came out, and that we healed ourselves. We turned inward. We look at ourselves, what needs healing, what's still dysfunctional, what's still wounded, what still contributes to our problems that we're seeing in the world right now. And how can I empower me and empower others to be their own healer too? So if you're interested about how healing has a certain cycle and a format and how you go there, then I am offering a course very soon. It's on my website. It's called the HealeR, the online course. I'm also offering a transmission called the HealeR Archetype, which will help you feel and activate that healer within. But this is a useful course if anybody out there is really drawn to working with people on a bigger scale of healing and knowing how to do that in an empowering way. So I send you all my prayers and my prayer of intentions for you all to find your inner healer and the power that you have for your miraculous, wonderful body that is more than you could ever imagine in its death and rebirth cycle, and the way the cells regenerate and change on a second basis. So feeling the power of that body, feeling the power that may be lying dormant under sickness, disease, mental health, all of those type of things. And I offer my prayers that your healer is found. Blessings to you all.